Hello everyone and welcome. I want to show this copying device, the Pardigraphe, from around 1910. It uses a particular technology that in fact is the opposite of the lithography. On the box there is the name and there is also this beautiful coat of arms. This is the closure. It's difficult to open, but it also has to work like a press, so it has to be tightly closed, and that's why it's like this. Inside here there is a spring, so it can be used as press. This is the main part. An opal plate will be used for doing the copies. The name is written here in incredibly elaborate calligraphy. It was produced in Toulon, in the south of France. On a side, there is still an old writing, probably the last thing that this device printed. It's written on the contrary. I can read it on a mirror. It's in French. I studied it at school. It's a blessing from the French saint Vincent de Paul, who lived in the 1600s. More or less it says, "May the child Lord bestow upon you his best blessings and accompany all your efforts with his grace." Beautiful words. The technology used by this device is one of the many copying technologies used in that period. Amongst others, there was the mimeograph, a copying system that would remain very popular until the 1960s. It was based on engraving a stencil with a stylus and then doing the copies with it. It could also be a simple flat mimeograph machine, simple to use and inexpensive. There was the press, which used a special ink to transfer the text from an original copy using pressure. It's a very old technology. Also, James Watt in 1780 designed a copier using the pressure. He used it for his correspondence. There was also the ectography, that used only chemicals and a kind of gelatin. This is an advertisement of the opalograph that used the same technology. It says that it's possible to do also color copies. It's enough to use the ink of the desired color and make multiple passes on the same copy. Before these technologies, you had to hire an amanuensis and be very patient. The printing technology of this device is similar to the most famous lithography. The basic principle is that grease with water or ammonia ink repel each other. Where the ink etches away the grease, the glass plate later accepts the printing ink. In the remaining parts, the ink is repelled. And when you press a blank sheet of paper on the plate, the ink on it transfers on the paper, producing your copy. That's why the writing is on the reverse of the glass plate. The opal glass plate was treated with grease. Then the blessing has been wrote on a sheet of paper using a pen with ammonia ink. And pressing the written paper on the opal plate treated with grease, the ammonia in the ink on the paper repel the grease on the plate, removing it only where the design was made. And when you press a blank paper on the opal plate with the ink, you can obtain many copies. Today we use our clean photocopiers. The Pardigraph appears incredibly complicated, and no one would ever use something like this in the office. This system doesn't seem so easy to use, and with grease ink it seems like everything could end up in a mess. This technology, that in fact is the contrary of the lithography, in the end lost the battle and today is almost unknown. But at that time you had no choice. You could copy something by hand, or roll up your sleeves, get a little dirty, and make your own copies. At least this device reminds us that things are not always easy, but they have to be done anyway. Have a nice day.